So we saw the beginning of the model, right? The RTR model is step-in circle if you choose, locograms, spectrograms, floor checks, timelines, and social atoms, and experiential letter writing. You've seen how to do a two-chair role play. You've seen how to do an empty chair role play. And that is essentially what we're working with. It's broken down to treat trauma. Once again, the safe feeling of the work allows unsafe feelings to come forward. As you notice, the room needs to be safe enough so very unsafe, vulnerable feelings can come forward. It will never be perfectly safe. I mean, it doesn't feel safe to talk about these things. It doesn't feel safe to bring them up. And therapy is about learning how to articulate feelings that feel unsafe. However, if it's safe enough, it works out. We don't evaluate. As you noticed in the sharing, we're not evaluating. We're identifying. Floor checks, you can also, if you want to get more playful, use weather emojis. And just identify with weather states. Let people feel creative, or emojis. Sometimes people respond better to pictures. Bring in artwork, bring in, music, bring in what will appeal to your group. Let people make artwork in your art class and bring it in. Let them draw feelings and bring them in as part of the feeling check. I start with the feeling check because it's the easiest to do, and it's so inviting. But as I put this into programs, we were using symptom lists, right, on PowerPoint's chalkboard. In my day, it was a chalkboard. And as I taught people about the symptoms, or my trainees taught people about the symptoms, clients start to think they've got everything. So by half of the list, everybody's sort of going like that. So I thought, wait a minute, the feeling floor check is working so well. What if I gave this element of choice and movement and healing through co-regulation to the group using symptoms, so that they didn't feel trapped in their chairs and just identifying or not identifying. So I brought my symptom list to group and spread them around the floor. Now, what's being accomplished with that? People are on their feet. People are making a choice. People are free not to choose. Which symptom don't you identify with? Which symptom did your family of origin exhibit a lot? That becomes family of origin work. It's all trauma work, but it's lighter than trauma work. And we're not putting people, if you talk about trauma work, think that they start thinking, I've got to bring my biggest trauma to therapy. And there's also this emphasis on a piece of work. And there's no such thing in group therapy. It's all work. Some of you are working very hard just to sit in your chairs. So floor checks involve choice. They involve, as Stephen Porges said when he looked at this, you're healing through co-regulation. This is part of the magic of 12-step programs, that we heal through co-regulation, through limbic regulation, through being, remember that illustration in the beginning of the baby? We need to redo that in adulthood. So to have a model, and I think floor checks is my best for that, where people can regulate each other. And you do that limbically. Oftentimes I get a question, aren't you worried about people decompensating? But the group takes care of each other. You are holding each other physiologically as you do this in the same room. And as you're in the same space, it's even more, because there's a 3 to 4 foot radius of that kind of limbic regulation. A lot of this work in the model is being done for you. And it's, I think you can picture yourselves doing it. You are doing it, right? I mean, this is not difficult to do, and it doesn't require the training that psychodrama does. So when I do the symptoms, I can follow that up with breaking out the symptoms. So if one of the symptoms is depression, I have a depression floor check. The many ways that depression can manifest. Shutdown, hiding, isolation, all of the symptom list of depression. I have a symptom list for anxiety. You can break out all of the manifestations of anxiety and explore them one-to-one. This in itself is healing for people because or the anger one is phenomenal. I mean, if you put out all the manifestations of anger, it's a surprise to everyone how many ways they express their anger. But keep in mind that all of this is getting it up and out of the inner world and into the outer world, embodying it and making it experiential, and accessing the healing powers within the group. Passive aggression, these are the anger symptoms. Then I realized as I continued to work that we're really missing the positive stuff. So I always build resilience symptoms, post-traumatic growth. So pepper those in as you do this so that people understand that they're growing through meeting the challenges of their life, because we need the reparative experience alongside. Alongside the breaking down, we need the building up. And you saw that in your drama. Tell me your name again. Michaela repaired her own inner self through the drama. And Dave did the same thing. You saw them repair naturally. And that's how repair often happens. This afternoon, we'll look at the social atom where you might repair more intentionally. But in my experience, just giving the stage and doubling some repair, but you have to pick it up when it's happening. You can't sort of jam it into the psychodrama, but you did it organically. And this happens over and over and over again, which is why I make use of it the moment it's there. So build the strength and the resilience at the same time as you're allowing for the feelings to come up. Okay. Now here's relapse, list of just go through a list you like of qualities of relapse. Feeling that life will never be what I want it to be, relationship issues, what people relapse over. I have this one, 12 steps. Put the steps all around the floor. Which step do you feel you've gained some mastery in? Which step are you afraid of? Which step do you feel blocked around? So that you can, if that's part of your treatment, you can break down some of the barriers. God, people have issues with that. Now we're going to do the timeline. The reason I started working with timelines is as I got into trauma work, and remember this is the 80s when it's still just being talked about, people had a hard time remembering things. Because when the brain is in a very frightened state, the thinking mind shuts down and the hippocampus shuts down. So that means we're not making sense of what we're experiencing while we're experiencing it. The thinking mind is not functioning properly. The hippocampus is not time stamping and ordering the memory. So this is why trauma lives inside the brain without any story and without any sense of time and without any sense of context. And that is key to understanding this model and what every process is designed to repair. Timelines help with context. Social atoms help with context. In order to reintegrate a splintered inner world, we have embodied, we're talking to the self, right? Because what do we do with our inner child who's traumatized? Push them away. So we're reuniting that, and then the repair happens. Our job with the embodiment is to get the conversation going. And remember, the moment you started looking straight at, talking straight to your depression, the role play shifted. So I'm not doing a lot, I'm just following the techniques available to me. And I'm definitely not trying to think up something really clever. And I'm definitely not in an analytical frame of mind. I don't have any of the answers when I'm working with you. I facilitate your coming to your own answers. Because of the nature of how the brain and body process trauma, the brain not able to make sense of what's happening when it's happening, the brain not being able to timestamp the memories and put them in order because those parts are done regulating when we're very scared, and because the nervous system freezes, we don't remember what happened. And it comes out through reenactments. That's how trauma shows up. Through the people, what we project onto people, how we transfer relationships from the past onto relationships in the present unconsciously. How we recreate the pain from the past in our relationships today. Keep in mind that the relationship with the self becomes distant because we're shutting down these feelings. We lose access to our feelings. So we need to reignite that relationship with the self. And it's easy to do that through, who could play your depression? Who could, is your father in an empty chair? I mean, look how alive it was for you. Just because that projection, that transference in psychodrama, we're putting into a chair. That's the transference that would get transferred onto another person. But we're allowing you to put it on the stage and bring it up a little more and bring it up a little more. And this will continue in your mind. You'll be chewing on this for a year. And your depression, we're taking that stuckness out from inside and we're putting it out here where you can be in charge of it. We internalize the relational dynamic. We don't just internalize our father, our mother. We internalize the full dynamic and we choose people to play that dynamic out with. That's part of the reenacting of trauma. So when we can get some consciousness around it, and it's quite simple to do. It doesn't take a lot. And it's better if it's simple because it's easier, it feels safer, you'll remember more from this drama. You'll remember this. Sometimes if the dramas get too heated up and too many characters, you don't remember them. The other thing is I don't let role players make things up. And you can see why. Because you're in your, what we call a psychodramatic trance state. And if people start making up their version of your father or their version of your depression, you have to think, well, is that right? I don't know that feel. Well, my father wouldn't say that. Well, but I don't want to offend this role player. So it puts you in your head, which is just where you don't want to be. So what you don't do is important as what you do. We want to, when you're in that trance state, I really believe that's a brain repatterning state. And I want to keep it as clean as possible so that your state can do the work. And all I'm doing is saying reverse roles, as you come to your own conclusions, little doubling where that seems helpful, but not much else. There's not much that's needed because of your own brilliance, because you know you better than anybody knows you. So any model that I want to create is in service of you seeing you. It's not me seeing you. Because how could I possibly know you the way you know you? Not possible. I can't know my children the way they know themselves. When we've been traumatized, if we don't work out these nervous system bracing for danger, we go through life hypervigilant around certain things. But we read things into the situation that aren't necessarily there. We can't relax and be ourselves in relationships, even sometimes with ourselves. So this hypervigilance is very benefited by group. and by doing embodiment. Psychodrama feels really good when you're doing it, right? It feels real. And it is a new experience that you're templating. You templated it with your inner child. You didn't know where you were going with your future. And suddenly you knew it was okay not to know, but you knew part of it. And you knew you had your supports in place and so on. Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn are what get kicked in by this amygdala. That's the other thing we carry through life for such a long time. Trauma teaches us to stand and fight, to run, to freeze because the nervous system's frozen, we're in a frozen state, or to fawn, to placate, codependency, right? To do what is expected. And all of those things are what we're providing these exercises to become more aware around. Moreno's goals were spontaneity and creativity. That's what he wanted to give people. Through embodiment, through role reversal, through action, not talking about, talk to, not about. Moreno saw mental illness as inverse proportions to spontaneity and creativity, as a kind of frozenness, as a kind of stiffness, as a kind of rote. So we're using our skills, we're using our techniques to increase spontaneity and creativity. And now, if you can all take out a piece of paper, we're going to do a timeline. Just take a piece of paper, put a line along the bottom, and divide it into 5-year intervals. Okay, so I have 2 timelines. I do the attachment trauma or attachment wound timeline. Sometimes using the word trauma is too heavy, and the resilience timeline. The attachment wound ones, I just simply say, put down any time you felt frozen, any time you felt wounded, any time you were anywhere in your age you still feel stuck. And jot down what was there, dynamics that were, painful throughout life. Use your timeline to just enter all of that. And I also use a resilience timeline. And it's just put down times when you met the challenges of your life, when you made a great decision that led to other great decisions, when you felt really good about yourself, when someone came into your world who really helped you. So do whichever timeline you feel warmed up to do. And we'll just give you a few minutes to write it up. Who would like to share their timeline? What I want to introduce is to write the timeline, share it, and just be in a group together having shared it and then share some more is a full process in itself. So we will do that part of the process, and then we'll do the other things you can do with a timeline. But this is a very titratable process. I think it's a lot just to write it, right? I mean, so writing it and sharing it is a big deal. And if you have a big group, you can share it in clusters. So anybody? Yes?
All right. So I did 0 to 38, obviously, because my life. At 13, I lost my mother to alcoholism. 21, I started my prereqs for nursing. I was on the dean's list. 22, I was arrested, charged with felonies, had to drop out of school. 35, lost my grandparents, world came crashing. You know, I just wanted to die. 35, I also got into rehab. And then at 38, I'm at a point in my life where I feel in position to become what my grandparents wanted me to be. Thanks for letting me share.
Combine attachment trauma and
Oh, okay. Let's see, 2, my parents divorced, like 3 or 4, my mom remarried. My stepdad, she was with him till I was about 21, but as I mentioned before, he was one of those like super like mellow people, and then would just fly off the handle and was terrifying. He would hide your belongings and not tell you ever, and he locked me out on the deck and like all kinds of stuff. But at that time, at 3 to 4, when we would go to my dad's house, he would tell us how much he still wanted to be with my mother and to go home and tell her and like try and get the family together. I was 4 years old. Let's see, I have some things that kind of encapsulate many years. I have from 3 to 20, mom did not protect me from stepdad, and 3 to 20, father didn't either. 17 to like 25, my sister's addiction, mental health, suicide attempts, in the hospital and jail. And then I have, even though it goes farther back in my history, but like maybe 20 to current, dating all addicts and alcoholics. Portion of that with someone who was in active addiction. And then a time when my sister was really sick when I was like 25. Same sister with addiction, with Lyme's disease, like really disabled from it. That's it.
Thank you. Let's do you want to do resilience?
I mean, yeah, it's
Sure.
just really simple.
Okay.
So we'll start, I mean, my whole life was trauma, so this is like the simplest thing I could do. Since I was old enough to play sports, that's what I did. I was cleanup batter for softball. I was the best on my team for field hockey, track, excelled in any sport I played. Then shortly after, at 19, I had my son. 26, I had my daughter. And I'm the first one in my entire family to get my master's at 35 years old. And now I'm 38. And I have like the best job ever. So that's my resilience timeline. Super simple.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
I actually did both too, like Cole. But yeah, I think from ages 5 until about 18, just living with my dad being an active alcoholic, and of course it got progressively worse. And then at the age of 15, my sister dying. And then they got divorced around age 19, 18, 19. And then my drinking started in my late 20s, but actually it started earlier than that, but it wasn't problematic probably till my 30s, and then really took off later 30s. It was like a very high peak at 40, and I got sober at 40. And I actually, even though I've been through some tough stuff since getting sober, it's interesting that, with the exception of my mom dying, not as, like I kind of rated them like 1 to 10 on the bottom part of the trauma ones. And my mom dying was the biggest one in 2022 besides my sister. But since getting sober, that's been the hardest thing I've been through. My father also passed, but I wasn't really in relationship with him for a very long time. Yeah, and then the resiliency ones I have from 0, actually it should be probably negative, my mommy's love, and that was all throughout, and my grandmother and my Aunt Mary, who was a nun. She was actually my mom's aunt, but she was a huge influence on me. In school, I was a straight A student from kindergarten, loved to learn. Church was really important for me, so I had a lot of this really powerful stuff going on. It's interesting to see it all together. And then school really saved me when my sister died. I threw myself into that. I actually started working too at 15. And college, loved college. And then getting married, I have hearts at 1996. We're married almost 30 years. And he stood by me through my drinking. Let's see, I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, 2007, I was still drinking at the time, but we bought our first boat. And in 2009, I got sober and was terrified I would not enjoy the boat without drinking, and found I could actually drive the boat. So that was very fun. I actually got to drive, and we got a jet ski. Bought our house in Blairstown in 2015, so that was really, really positive. We had a townhouse prior to that, but the house in Blairstown, being with the animals and nature, has just been a huge source of recharge and spirituality for me. Blairstown in general, where Alina lodges. And then I have, getting my master's degree, working at Haley House first in 2011, then Alina Lodge, High Watch. I actually have the Enneagram, EMDR, IFS, and RTR listed here as really amazing things that have helped me grow and helped me with my resiliency. So thank you, Tian.
Thank you, Jackie. So you see, and one other teaching point. Were you in recovery from the time you stopped drinking?
Yes.
So that people often find that out, that traumas continue to happen, but they now deal with them differently, so they feel less traumatic. And that is the whole idea of learning how to manage trauma, so that it doesn't have to sink down into the unconscious and drive reenactments. But we process as we go. And I see kids doing that, learning to process as they go, and I just think, wow.
Going live with it, right? Like going live. I call it going live with it. Like I can
going
go live
with
it now.
And they learn how to do it as kids. They learn that they need help as kids, and it's remarkable to see for someone who grew up like me in the 50s, when the idea was to put on a happy face, And there was a lot I loved about the 50s. But that part was, left all of us with unresolved stuff. Now, there are a couple things you can do further. This, in and of itself, is a complete process. If your group is all doing this, you'll find that by the end of the group sharing, people are, needing a break. It becomes very deep. Another thing you can do is, because these are now developmentally aligned, you can invite somebody to first walk the timeline, which I'll show you, and then to talk to themselves at any point along their development, which is quite wonderful because the trauma is already focused. So the talking is right up here. Let's first of all, let me invite you, and this is the third thing you can do with it, just invite the group to stand up at any age where you feel stuck, where you feel there's something left to say, where you feel frozen, or if you were doing resilience, where you feel resilient, So I just invite you to walk up and stand in one of those places and then talk to each other. Here's a time where each one teach one. The babies are with the babies, the toddlers are with the toddlers, adolescents with the adolescents, and so forth. So simply talk to the people nearest you in age. And let whatever wants to come out, come out. Okay, go for it. Ignore me.
came with a lot of consequences.
So we're going to have, will someone walk the timeline? Do we have a volunteer to walk the timeline? Just walk and talk about what was on your timeline.
Sure.
So I had it pretty easy up until 19 years old, so I'll stop right now at just before 20. At 19, well, I graduated high school when I was 18. I was completely directionless, no idea what I wanted to do, drinking, just starting to really hit my stride with the drinking, smoking pot. Had my heart broken for the first time, so I got brought back down to earth, and I learned to cope with that with drugs and alcohol, which on my way through my 20s, kept up with that, graduated college, but smack dab in the middle of my 20s at 25, that's when my mother died, and that was from a super rare brain disease, which no one really knows anything about, and there was nothing we could do about it, so I just had to accept it, and to accept it, I did lots of drugs and alcohol. And so at 26, after she's buried and we're all trying to move on with our lives, I moved back up to Boston, which is where I went to college. And from 26 to about 32, I was living there. I had a few relationships, some great, some horrible. Drinking and drugs just got progressively worse and worse. And at 32 is when I hit my rock bottom. I couldn't wake up without drinking, shaking, losing my memory, falling down, all the classic tropes of an alcoholic, in denial. And but that was the age where, I hit the bottom and pushed myself back up. And 33, I hit a year of sobriety. That's when I decided I wanted to become a drug and alcohol counselor. And now I'm 34, and I'm still on that path I've been on since I hit that bottom and started going up. So here I am right now, right in the middle of 34.
So you can see the trauma and the resilience happen together oftentimes. Now, I noticed your vocal change when you were talking about, you noticed it too, right around 19? Mm-hmm. When you were supposed to, thank you. So could we go to about 19, and how many minutes do we have? 8, 9. Would you like to talk to yourself at that age?
At 19?
Well, when you were saying we were supposed to get over it, we were supposed to we were, and something as serious as your mother's death that you could do nothing about, following the heartbreak, right? Right in that area.
Okay.
You could choose. Do you want to talk to yourself over the heartbreak or over your mother?
We could talk about my mom. Sure.
Okay. Who could play mom?
It doesn't matter. Any volunteers?
Feel free to volunteer.
Christina. We have a good rapport, so.
Okay, do you want to just stand there, Christina?
Over here?
Yeah. What do you want to say to mom?
At 25, when she's dying?
Yeah, the beauty of this is you're exactly right. You get to talk to the mom you had then. Yes.
Okay.
From the kid you were then. You're right on the right vibe.
Right. Well, this is all very new to me. Never really experienced death like this before of this significance. So you'd be the best person to go to for advice about this. But I can't ask you for advice because you're not even there anymore. So I don't really know how to cope with it or deal with it. And I could talk to Dad or Juliana, my sister, as you know. But I think they're all in the same boat as me. And I don't know. I don't really know what to do. And well, I knew I could drink. I know I'm going to drink. So that's what I'll do because that makes me feel better, but not really better, just numb.
Reverse roles?
My mom.
Yeah. Reverse roles, physically change places?
So you're afraid, and you don't have me to turn to.
You're now, what's your name?
Ben.
You're Ben.
Oh, okay. And what am I doing?
You're repeating what Ben just said to you as mom.
Yeah. Right? You're afraid, and you don't have me to turn to?
No, you're acting like mom right now. You're Ben.
Oh, okay. I'm afraid, Mom, and you'd be the person that I would turn to during this time, and you're not there.
There you go.
And
Okay.
I respond as my mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to think. I'm sorry. There's not much I can do about it, and there's not much you can do about it, and these are just the cold, hard facts of life. And I don't want to go. I was hoping to live a long, long time and see you grow up and get married and have kids and have grandkids. But, what can we do?
What do you want to say to mom, to your son, who is here with you right now, losing you?
I love you very much, and your sister and your father and our great big family. But this is out of my control, and all I can say is I'll see you again somewhere down the road.
Anything you want to leave this boy with, knowing that you're leaving him without you to turn to? What do you want to tell him?
I would say remember me, but don't forget to keep looking forward.
Say that again.
Remember me, but don't forget to keep looking forward.
What do you want him to remember?
The good and the bad and everything in between is what I'd like you to remember. Because if we just remember one part, it can skew our idea of the person. So it's good to remember the whole package as it is.
Say the last things you want to say to your son for now.
I love you.
Reverse roles.
I'm Mom. I know this is a difficult time for you. I want you to remember like the whole picture up until where you are now, like the good, the bad, everything in between. Remember me and know that I love you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. And say the last things you want to say to mom as the 25-year-old.
This is going to be rough. But I love you, and I'll miss you, and I'll try to carry on the best I can with everything you taught me. And I still have all your sisters and brothers and Dad and Juliana, and I see all of them. I see you and all of them as I do myself. So you're not physically here, but you're still all around me. So I have that to comfort me.
Tell mom about those qualities of hers you still carry.
Okay. As a 25-year-old? Or as me now?
Should we do it as you now? Why not? Yeah, let's do it as you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Good call. I'd like to think I still carry your empathy and your concern for other people, and also, unfortunately, your neuroticism. But I think sometimes, even though it drives me crazy, sometimes I still think it also keeps me grounded in a way, if that makes sense. And to just, value the little things in life and not worry so much about the big end goal, but taking precious time with the steps that lead to the end goal. So I'm grateful for that.
And say goodbye.
So long for now.
Okay. Do you want to have reverse roll on that one?
Okay.
Okay, reverse rolls.
I'm Mom saying
So long for now.
goodbye to
Yeah,
him.
saying whatever you remember.
I'll take with me, moving forward, everything you taught me, even your neuroticism, which, helps me to stay grounded. And so I'll take you along this journey with me through life, and I'll get to see you on the other side again.
And Mom, say your goodbyes.
I look forward to watching it from afar, and I'll see you.
Okay, reverse rolls and end the scene any way you want to for now.
So I'm me again?
Mm-hmm.
It's the last thing I'd want to say. I guess I hadn't thought about it. 25 years wasn't enough, but I'll take it.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
So, you can write the timeline and share it. You can walk the timeline and do dramas that are already focused, developmentally focused, so it makes it much easier to speak for the protagonist because the words are there. And you can invite the group to stand on the timeline. And you can do that also as a closure activity. You don't have to do it just in this order. If you wanted to write the timeline, share it, and walk it, you could do as part of the sharing, everybody go on the timeline and share. Very versatile. And as you see, another thing that is easy to direct. It's easy to direct. When you're just talking to one part of you or one person, it's so much more contained and focused. And the idea of RTR is to keep focusing different things that need to be healed for trauma healing to occur, while at the same time building strength and resilience. And I think you're all a really kind of a good example of that, because it's come into all your work just naturally. So thank you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a little while.